This NASA announcement will be. Let me come back to my guest here in studio. And Murigi, sorry, I just want to get your comment on the fact that IBC yesterday came out and said, you know, we cannot furnish you with all the Form 34As.
Yes.
And we might not know. Maybe NASA needs this to go to court, and yet IBC is still, you know, a bit, or maybe a bit reluctant to do that.
In any election, and this is what happens, and we argued this, that every candidate has its agents, two, has a tallying center, quote-unquote a tallying center. Now, a tallying center, what you do is that you rely on the numbers that you receive from your agents, and you tally, you get your finals, and you compare with whatever the that there is no requirement in law for any party to file a petition. They require all the Form 34As. What you need is the final declaration. What you're questioning is the final declaration that was made by the chairman of the IEBC at Bomas. That is what one would be questioning. In any event, whatever that you can get, and we know that this court has been building jurisdiction, you'd be in a position to file further affidavits with the leave of the court. And I believe they will not do what they did in 2013.
What's that?
Yes, and they will not do what they did in 2013 and expunge affidavits that had been filed. And what I gather, and I remember Jesse raised this issue, is that we all agree that the manner and approach that was taken by the Supreme Court of the court to file for that further affidavit. So they were coming as an afterthought and telling court, see, we've already now gathered this further evidence. We are requesting for you to allow us to file this affidavit. Now, further from that, what I'm saying, it would be an excuse for any party to say that I do not have these Form 34As that are the official Form 34As.
That includes IEBC?
Yes, from IEBC. Reason being that the basis on which Form 34C was prepared by the chairman and which was a declaration was Form 34B from the 290 constituencies. According to the judgments that we got from the High Court and the Court of Appeal, those results were final. The 290 results were final.
But
yes? So whatever declarations that are made there can only be fettered if you go to court, to an election court. And this being a presidential election, for you to change any of the figures that had been delivered by the 290 returning officers, you have to go to court and question those figures. So my position was simple, that the chairman of the IEBC at the National Tallying Center and everybody else, their hands were tied. That your work is simple. Come get the 290 forms, collate the totals, declare whoever is the winner. If there is any change, let somebody go to court and challenge that.
All right.
Now, on the issue of availability of Form 34As, I know it has been, it is an issue that needs interrogation. We are scanned copies, and I know they've even been running adverts even on KTN. And the question we would ask ourselves is, are these forms available? If they are not available, then answers need to be given why the forms are not available.
All right, but and there's only 35,000 that are now available.
That's for 35, so we need 5,800 that are remaining. So those could be a few constituencies, but we need to know what is happening now that these forms are available. But somebody should not use that as an excuse as to why they never approached court.
All right.
Yes.
Sylvanus, I'd like to hear from you. What does this do? This whole IBC not, coming out very clearly on where the other 5,000 forms are, and looking at if NASA decides to go to the Supreme Court. Do you think this is going to have a
seeking his time, but they should also be definite and clear of the timeline, considering that one needs to file this matter before the lapse of time
by Friday?
However, the question now should be, is there a fault in the 35,000, already submitted forms, or rather, scanned forms? If there is an issue or question in the 35,000 forms, then any person who wants to go to court can file a case using the information that is in question. And as my colleague has said here, seek further leave in court once they get the 5,000, the additional 5,000. But then we are saying that in assumption that probably somebody wants to go to court. But as of now, we place the matter in court and then now seek further leave to file a further affidavit in court.
All right.
Yes.
Jesse.
To some extent, I agree with Mheshimiwa and my learned colleague Marande, but what they're not telling Kenyans is that even the hearing of presidential election has timelines. The matter, once filed, has to be concluded within 14 days. So when you've requested for this form, and the law is very clear, the Elections Act of 2017, that when a party requests for information from IBC, it should be provided within 48 hours. It's over 48 hours. They're already in breach of the law. Moving forward, there might be discrepancies in the forms that have already been uploaded, and probably there is a feeling that there might be more discrepancies in the forms that are yet to be uploaded. But then even if you move forward and find it's a very critical issue.
Charles, do you agree indeed that IBC should urgently look into this matter of just furnishing them with, whatever information that they need as per law?
Yeah, they should. I think on that one I agree entirely, because they have an obligation also for the purposes, for the interest of clarity and even for openness and transparency. Then it is important that they do that. The only thing that I'm trying to stress is that, again, we should understand that as a commission, just straight from handling an election, probably their challenge, they may be having other issues, other challenges, but they should communicate this. Because I think it's been said all along that the IBC has tried to do so many good things, but they've been failing in the area of communication.
Right.
So on this one also, they need to come out clear and say, Mheshimiwa Soro is saying it, because now, with such information, then it creates clarity and also removes the issue of anxiety or even suspicions around the IBC.
Suspicions, all right. So I want us to wrap up the conversation, but I want us to just wrap it up by just talking about what is on our screens right now, that an office affiliated to AFRICOG has been raided. Maybe in a minute each. Murigi, I'll start with you from the far end.
Yes.
I mean, now this is exactly what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And we're talking about quote-unquote victimization of certain institutions.
Yes.
AFRICOG, there were reports that they were headed to the Supreme Court to petition this presidential election. So does this go in line with what
and essentially, it all boils down to one thing. And I said this: if you open yourself up to be a political player, there are consequences that you'll face. I'm not saying that this is a political player. As a political player, and this is what I said, at times you do not antagonize your work as a non-governmental organization by going to bed with politicians. Now, that aside, what I said is this, that if police are genuine, whatever that they are doing is okay, we'll get the results. We have KRA. KRA does that once and often. And I know that yesterday, that the letter that had been addressed to, this could have been as a result of the letter that was addressed to the DCI, the director of DCI, Mr. Muhoro. So, but I believe, I still question the timing. Okay. They could.
Right, very quickly, Osoro, as you wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. This is the timing is quite suspect, and this is very wrong. I find it very wrong. Remember, AFRICOG has a history of filing a petition against the presidential results in 2013. And there is reason to believe that this comes from the government, and this is very wrong. Of course, the police are working under the control of under the control of the government, and probably this is to silence the opposition. And you see, we are moving into very challenging periods. In as much as we are really complaining about all these things, we're really moving into a very challenging period where we do not have a clear opposition. The opposition was actually the now opposition that watchdogs through this gagging them and raiding them left, right, and center. Clearly, we are really moving into one-party state, and this is not something very happy. We should be very proud of, because to me, this is suspect, and this is political. They want to silence the opposition. They want to silence the civil society groups, civil rights groups, and that is wrong. Right. In as much as we are saying we need to keep quiet about elections and move on, we can't move on with this kind of structure. We can't.
Okay.
Exactly.
Charles, your thoughts on this, and also just considering what he's saying, about limiting the civic space, so to speak.
Yeah, thanks, Betty. I think it is important and for every government to ensure that there are enough civil liberties in every country, and especially Kenya, as a democracy that is maturing. So on account of the timing, we need to ask ourselves as a country again is, do we want inaction of the state during times of elections so that we suit the convenience of the moment? Because right now, I think the KRA are just discharging their mandate that there is the issue of tax evasion, and now they are going there to basically just get their records and get to know what is really going on.
All
But
right.
on the account of timing, it is a problem. And the issue that needs to be managed right now is the perception.
Okay.
That it's a witch hunt, just trying to gag civil society in the country.
All right, thank you. Final thoughts, Jesse, in regards to that?
I entirely agree largely with what my colleagues have said, only for one part, where this narrative of ours is a young democracy. I mean, South Africa just with the police, we kept quiet. Now they're coming for human rights. People are quiet and some people are encouraging. Then they'll go for opposition and the next it will be media, and after that we won't have a country. Slowly by little, this country is turning into a police state.
All right,
It should not be allowed.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for speaking to me.